Hello Internet, and welcome to The Top. Today, we'll be looking at the top 10 best Girl Meets World episodes. Well, so far anyways. Agree? Disagree? Throw your comments down below. Let's get started. Number 10. Girl Meets Gravity. This episode opened Season 2 and immediately it became clear that this season wasn't playing around. Season 1 was incredible, but Season 2 started on an entirely different level. Girl Meets Gravity starts off with some really funny fourth wall jokes, as well as some humor that makes more sense if you've watched Boy Meets World. At the heart of the episode is what forces surround us and how those forces affect us in different ways as we grow up. And dealing with Mrs. Forsky's death was heart-wrenching, especially with how close her and Augie were. All in all, an absolutely great way to begin Season 2. Number 9. Girl Meets the Secret of Life. This is probably the best Lucas-centered episode, which I guess might not be saying much since there's not too many of those, but this episode is legitimately great. The idea of Lucas not having always been this super nice Texas transfer makes a lot of sense, since we didn't know too much about his character to this point. It introduced us to Zay, who I'm not really a fan of, but it also gave us what became the unofficial creed for the entire series. People change people. How right you are, Mr. Matthews, how right you are. Number 8. Girl Meets the Forgiveness Project. Ever since it was made clear that Maya was living with only her mother, the show was slowly building up to an eventual confrontation between Maya and her estranged father, Kermit. This episode delivers on the feels and features some of Sabrina Carpenter's best acting yet. This episode would be higher for me, but it just didn't hit me as hard as the emotional tenor it was going for. Just a personal opinion, but this is undeniably one of the best episodes in the series. Number 7. Girl Meets Rah Rah. This episode is, admittedly, as high as it is in part because of timing. Girl Meets World did a number on our emotions just weeks prior, and to see something this uplifting, focusing on the show's most uplifting character, was just what the doctor ordered. It's a pretty basic setup with Riley wanting to join the cheerleading team after failing so many times in the past. Maybe I'm just too much of a lover of the underdog story, but this one was just too feel-good to leave out of the top 10. Girl Meets Rah Rah is a definite winner. Number 6. Girl Meets Creativity. I think this episode is one of the smartest in the entire series so far. Yeah, we've seen the whole arts takes the backseat to sciences conflict in plenty of movies and shows before this, but this was all about how they executed it. Everything about the main characters presenting their arguments to the school board was perfect and in line with each character's personality. Augie even closes it out with another well-delivered moment on his end. Girl Meets Creativity gets an A from me. Number 5. Girl Meets Smackle. This was actually the first Girl Meets World episode I ever watched. You'd think that this episode would build up to the conclusion that beauty is not skin deep, and people are more than just their looks. But, in a brilliant turn, Smackle actually puts together a very intelligent argument for why beauty can be skin deep. It's one of 2 episodes on this list where the right answer isn't so easy to come by, and a great intro for one of my favorite characters, Isadora Smackle. Number 4. Girl Meets Flaws. This episode confirms something very important for me, and that's that I love the people who make up this show. Farkle is being bullied in this episode, which, if you've watched some of my other reviews, drives me absolutely crazy. But the scene where everyone writes their insecurities on their foreheads for all to see is one of the greatest moments in the show. For me, this episode brought all the characters to life and confirmed back in Season 1 that these characters and this show were both something special. Number 3. Girl Meets Belief. Just like the debate from Girl Meets Smackle, Girl Meets Belief poses difficult questions of which there are no obvious or easy answers. This episode immediately struck a chord with me more than the others because of how much thinking it caused me to do regarding my own faith and my own beliefs. It has gotten some flack for introducing religion, but guess what? Religion is part of our world whether you like it or not. The responsible thing is to discuss it openly, not pretend it doesn't exist because this show is marketed towards a younger demographic. It's a risky but positive step, and I for one am glad the minds behind the show had the courage to take it. Number 2. Girl Meets Farkle. This episode is one thing: powerful. The bravery of Farkle going through a potentially life-changing examination, the grief and support his friends provide, Smackle coming back. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this episode. Interestingly enough, I think the way all the other characters work off Farkle's potential autism is the best part of a Farkle-focused episode. but I don't want to take anything away from Farkle and Smackle. Their acting is great here, and their moments between them are absolutely priceless. If you've seen this episode, then its number 2 status is self-explanatory, but there can only be one number 1. Number 1. Girl Meets Rileytown. Some of you may have seen this coming, but this episode definitely deserves its number 1 spot. We're back at bullying here, but the way that this episode handled it was even better than in Girl Meets Flaws. Flaws made me angry, but Rileytown broke me. The build-up of calling Maya a bully for half the episode was brilliant and well-paced, and the eventual reveal that Riley delivers is absolutely, positively crushing. Seriously, I watched the episode online and had to pause it after that scene just to put myself back together. Maybe some episodes have better jokes or better writing or more interesting ideas, but when a show can literally pull your heart out and make you feel what I felt, it becomes more than just a show, more than just an episode, more than just actors and dialogues and scripts. It becomes an experience. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, help me out with the likes, subs, and the shares, and check out some of the other cool videos on my channel. I'd hate to leave you all on such a dour note, so until then...
You questioning my leadership, Hopalong?
Okay, these names you're calling me are killing my street cred.
Oh, and what would you like me to call you?
I'd like you to call me Mad Dog.
You don't seem like a mad dog to me.
Well, what do I seem like to you?
You know that lamb that Mary had?
I don't like the way that this is going.